Even though they call it the news, most of it ends up just being noise and static. Well, here we're trying to find the signal. Welcome to Strange Frequency. Good evening. Welcome to Strange Frequency on channel 84.5. I'm your host, Caesar. Let's see what came across the wire tonight. Our first story comes from Rapa Nui, better known as Easter Islands. Researchers have released a detailed three-dimensional survey of a volcanic quarry called Ranu Raraku, the primary site where nearly all of the island's famous Moai statues were carved. Using thousands of overlapping drone photographs, the team constructed a full digital model of terrain, mapping close to 1,000 statues in various stages of completion. Some fully shaped, others still partially embedded in the rock face. The survey reveals dozens of separate carving zones scattered across the quarry rather than a single centralized work area, suggesting that statues may have been produced by multiple independent groups rather than one top-down authority. The model is now publicly accessible, allowing researchers to explore parts of the site that were previously difficult or dangerous to reach. Here's what makes this interesting. For years, the conversation around the Moai focused on mystery, how they were moved, who built them, whether it required some lost technology. But for this new mapping effort, it shifts the focus from myth toward more of an organization. Instead of a single command structure, it looks more like a coordinated team effort, smaller groups working side by side. Sometimes the strange part isn't that something is impossible, it's that it turns out to be entirely too human. And ever so often, better tools don't deepen the mystery, they quietly replace it with clarity. And with that being said, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back with you. And we're back. Our next article comes from Reuters. Reports that authorities in western Bulgaria are investigating an unusual cluster of 6 deaths discovered over the span of roughly 1 week in rural mountain terrain. 3 bodies were located near a burned mountain hut to Petrohan. Days later, 3 more, including a teenager. These were found inside a camper van near Okolchitsa Peak. Security footage reportedly showed all 6 individuals together earlier that day, suggesting that this group may have been connected. Investigators recovered firearms and ammunition at the scene, and officials say they are still determining whether the deaths stem from murder, suicide, or just suicide. Police describe this situation as unprecedented, not only within the area, but for the entire country. Nothing like this ever happens. Here's what stands out. 2 separate triple fatality scenes, same region, same week. Possible connection. Statistically, that's already unusual. Add isolation, a fire at the first location, and weapons recovered on site, and you're left with a lot of variables and very few clean answers. Right now, it isn't a supernatural story. It isn't even necessarily criminal. It may just be tragic, but for sure, it's simply unexplained. And sometimes that's more unsettling. When you have all the facts and the spaces in between are even louder. Another short pause and we'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. For our last story of the evening, ghost ship located after 140 years. Researchers working with historical and underwater archaeology groups have located the long lost schooner F.J. King in Lake Michigan. The vessel sank during a violent storm in 1886 and disappeared without a confirmed resting place, becoming something of a legend among shipwreck hunters for more than a century. Despite decades of searches and scattered reports, the wreck remained elusive until modern side scan sonar imaging finally mapped the ship on the lake bed. The hull appears remarkably well preserved, allowing historians to confirm its identity and finally close a mystery that lingered for nearly 140 years. Ships sink all the time. That part isn't unusual. What's unusual is when something simply vanishes, slips out of the historical record, and becomes a rumor. For decades, this wreck existed somewhere between fact and folklore, talked about only by the locals and people that live in the area. Then technology catches up, and suddenly the ghost has an address. Sometimes the signal from the past isn't gone, it's just waiting for the right equipment to hear it. Welcome back, and that concludes tonight's broadcast. Links to all the articles used will be in the description below. And as always, if you've seen anything strange or unexplained, feel free to reach out in the comments or by email. Until next time, we'll keep listening for the signal.